shows that I used to watch. I'm not gonna bother to put my head up in the corner in this video because I'm really tired and I don't feel like it. I'm trying to pull myself out of a funk. I haven't really felt like making videos or watching videos lately, and I want to pull myself out of that. But anyway, so the first let's see, actually it wasn't this one, it was this one. The first actual reality show that I think I ever watched, other than if you consider like Antiques Roadshow on PBS, I guess that might be kind of like a reality show. If you consider that a reality show, that was the first one, but otherwise it would be The Real World. Now, I have not seen every season. I know that I watched the first season, and I know that I watched the season with Puck in it, Puck and Pedro. That must have been, what was that? One of the San Francisco seasons. And I know I watched on and off the Seattle season. I don't know if that's the one with Steven and Irene. And if it has, I don't know why I'm blanking on his name right now, but the guy who kind of got in trouble because he had a relationship with someone on the crew, I think. Oh man, I can't remember his name. Anyway, I saw that season. The season that I remember the most was probably Hawaii. I watched that. I think it was on this summer. During the summer after I graduated high school. It had probably been on for a little while before then. I can't remember when it premiered, but I remember catching every single episode of that one. And then I remember really being into the New Orleans season 2, and then the Las Vegas one, and the Paris one. It's really funny to think back to the Paris one and how different CT looks from way back then, and how he became one of the most well-known people from the real world because of all the challenges that he did. Speaking of the challenges, I just remembered that also during this time, I would randomly catch a season of Road Rules as well. And I really liked all the challenges that they would do. And back then, in like 98, 99, early 2000s, it was still called the Real World Road Rules Challenge. And back then, the shows themselves, plus the challenges, were less about getting people drunk and hooking up and more about actual substance and entertainment. It's changed a lot as as time's gone on. Oh yeah, I remember the San Diego season 2 with Robin and Frankie, who passed away. And I remember I can't remember. Was it Chicago? I'm not sure where it was. The one with Tanya. And I remember, I don't know if it was Back to New York, the one that had Mike the Miz on it and Coral. It's really interesting as far as the challenges go for these shows, because for the longest time in the early 2000s, Coral and Beth and Cyrus and, oh man, what is his name? I'm blanking on it, but it was somebody from the very early seasons, close to Beth's age. Mark, I think, maybe. I can't remember. He was on so many. And then Veronica from Road Rules was on so many challenges, and it got to the point where people would comment like, oh my god, kick them off the challenges. I don't want to see Beth anymore. And I'm sick of seeing Veronica. I'm sick of seeing Coral. And the challenge is still going. And none of them, well, Veronica was on one not too long ago, but before that, none of them had been on one in a really long time. And it's just so weird because you kind of want them back. Because now it's almost like it's mostly people that were never even on the shows. Let's see. Another reality show that I used to watch, and this is the British version, called Airport. There was also an American version called Airline that I watched as well a couple years later. I don't know why I tortured myself watching a reality show about people in an airport. Flying sucks enough as it is. Do we really want to sit there and watch people get screwed over by the airlines? Whether it be having to buy a second seat, whether it be getting kicked off a flight and not getting a refund, whether it be being delayed indefinitely and not having a way home and no refund, whether it be they lost all of your luggage, or you have a disorder and they think you're drunk and they don't want to put you on the plane and they embarrass you. Like, just every possible thing. And like, the premise is that it's not their airline's fault. And yes, sometimes the customers could be jerks, but most of us, the majority of us, our customers do. So it's kind of hard in most cases to not feel for these people. So again, I don't know why I watched that, especially since, around the time that I was watching this show was when I had to start flying more. by myself or by myself with my son, and I already hated it, so yep. So let's see. This right here is Bug Juice. Now I'm gonna be 39 years old in September, and this show premiered when, let's see, let me see if it says the exact date. No, I don't want season 3. Okay, February 19. Oops. Hold on. Okay, so the first episode of season 1 premiered February 28th, 1999. So it was the tail end of my junior year. And they filmed this show probably a year before that. So the kids on this show were just probably like maybe a year or two younger than me. The oldest ones, that is. It was basically Disney had an idea for a reality show where they basically auditioned a group of kids that were already going to Camp Wasiata in Maine. And the ones that they picked, camera crews would follow those particular kids around. And there'd kind of be a storyline. Well, they didn't make one up back then. Back then they didn't. They just kind of followed the kids around just to see what their experiences were like at camp, being homesick, little dramas with not getting along with your bunk mates because you clashed in personality, or someone else liked a girl or boy that you liked, stuff like that. And they went on to have 2 more seasons, so it was on until 2002. And then a couple years ago they decided to revive it, and the first season, which was also filmed at Wasiata in Maine, premiered last summer on the Disney Channel. I'm not sure if they have one this year at a different camp or not, but with the original Bug Juice, it was a different camp every year or every season. So yeah, that was one of my earliest reality shows that I would watch. Another one was also on MTV called True Life, where each episode would chronicle a couple different people who were going through either similar or the opposite situations of each other. To be honest, I don't much remember a lot about this one. I also remember their show called Made, where the whole episode was dedicated to a person who wanted to become something, like a cheerleader or a singer or an MMA fighter, like stuff like that. Okay, the last one I'm going to talk about is The Surreal Life, and this started in 2003, and I don't know, I feel like the show was kind of made to make run of celebrities that are no longer as well known as they used to be, but in kind of a fun way. Like picking celebrities who are willing to go on the show and kind of make fun of themselves and have a nice experience getting to know other celebrities that are in the same situation that they might not have ever met. Now, the very first season, the reason that I watched it was because Corey Feldman was going to be on it. Corey Feldman, MC Hammer, Emmanuel Lewis, who played Webster, Gabrielle from 90210, Vince Neil, the girl who played Jerry from Survivor. Yeah. I was so excited for it because when I was growing up, I had such a huge crush on Corey Feldman. You know, everyone had their Corey that they preferred. Some liked Corey Haim. I liked Corey Feldman. You know, they were in License to Drive together, both Dreamin' Little Dream movies together, The Lost Boys together. Anyway, well, boy did I learn a lesson when I watched that show. I learned the very valuable lesson that, most of the time, celebrities are nothing like the characters that they play. Now, when we moved into the early to mid 2000s, reality shows started to get more ridiculous and more scripted. So I have no doubt there was scripting going on that possibly made him look worse. But Corey Feldman came off very annoying, kind of rude, kind of prudish, kind of snobby and judgmental. And honestly, in reality shows that I've seen him in since, and interviews that I've read, it's still kind of disappointing. I don't know. And then I actually started to have more respect for Corey Haim as he came back into the spotlight and did interviews, and we learned more about his struggles. And then unfortunately, he passed away in 2010. So that was really sad. But again, I can't say that Corey Feldman is a bad person. Reality shows are scripted. Nothing in Hollywood is ever what it seems. Yeah, I don't know him. So, and that's the big takeaway from all these reality shows. I don't know that we've had a real reality show since probably the late 90s. Like, I don't even think Survivor has been real, fully unscripted for, if it ever was, I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna end this now because my phone keeps